Hey there, Space Crew! It's Angry Turtle back with yet another video, and today I want to talk about missile launchers. What those can actually do endgame. The bad news here is there are only two good missile launchers, and they are both Class C, so only Class C ship can really make use out of it. Atlas 280C missile launcher and C-59 missile launcher, those are the good ones. They do vary a little bit in the use case. As you can see, the damage difference seems to be huge, but actual total output of the damage is not a big difference. They do about similar, because C-59 can fire 4 salvos before reloading, and 280C can only fire 2 salvos and need to reload. So that's a big difference. Now, I would love to have a third missile launcher worth equipping, but all of them are so weak that they will not be able to outperform basic PBO-175 auto Helion beam that's Class B. And very efficient. Like, this Helion beam is one of the best. So I have it on one of my slots on this ship. I cannot, even if I would really try to replace it with a missile to make any sense out of it. So that's the setup for testing as well. I did max out targeting control systems, as unfortunately, missile can be only effective if you have lock onto enemy ship, and you need to max it out to reduce the time to lock on enemy ship by 60%. So without it, it cannot really be effective. And then I have missile weapon systems max out too, which give me increased range and weapon speed and reload speed. They do reload extremely slow, you will see in a second. And the distance that you can fire them on, really huge on paper. But effectively, they're not good if you cannot lock onto enemy. So they lose with auto beams every time when you don't have a lock. So I don't know how that helps. It doesn't, I tested, and it doesn't help you lock on ships that are farther away, so it's kind of pointless. The travel speed is helpful and reload speed is helpful. The biggest plus for missile is rank 3, that is reducing the targeting cost by 60%. So you can use it in targeting mode easily. Now, let's talk more about them in combat. Is it worth it? Unfortunately, to fully power them, I need to reduce power to my engines, which is not great. I will be honest, and look at the locking. After I lock, then let me fire all the missile. I can quite efficiently destroy the enemy ship, but look now. Look at the reload time. It takes quite a lot of time. Like, my missile battery is still not reloaded. So that's a big problem. You will need to like keep dodging the combat for quite a while. Then eventually, what's going on? Okay, that's new bug. I cannot lock. Finally. I don't know what was that about. I couldn't lock. Enemy missile are very effective on my ship too, unfortunately. Now the lock works. So the missile, very powerful, but you need to have a lock. You can shoot outside of targeting mode, but it's really not much point unless you really don't want to use targeting mode. So we survived, I win. I was forced to use my auto beams too as missile were reloading. And look at that, auto beam with just 1 bar of power. It will be reloading. It's reloading quite nice. Now, when I fire the missile, half of the salvo, with full power into them, with max out perk to increase the reload speed, it's still taking about forever. It's a very slow process, so that's a big downside. A very slow process with full power to those systems. And as you can see, my ship is not bugged. Everything is as it's supposed to be. I'm avoiding all the triggers for the shield bug and so on. So luckily, for like 10 hours now, this ship is not bugged. Let's find a little bit more combat. I will try to use Messiah without going into the targeting mode. The one thing that targeting mode is not good for, when you go into the targeting mode, you cannot boost. So that's a big downside. I cannot boost in targeting mode. And when boosting, I can drop enemy lock. That's the effect of max out boosting perk. And one warning, when you are using Messiah a lot, you actually can hit yourself if you are close. You can see those explosions. If you will be in the blast radius, you will hit yourself. So that can be a huge problem. If you maneuver well, you can stay on the back. I'm trying to use as much of the Messiah as I can. So if you are planning to use Messiah, unfortunately, what you will need to do is a lot. And that's like targeting control system max out, basically required. Missile weapon systems, you probably should upgrade them to do damage, although this is not essential. It's more important to have targeting controls max out than missile weapon systems max out. And next, because the fight you will need to extend it a little bit, I would strongly recommend maxing out engines so you can be boosting when under fire, reposition yourself, drop the enemy lock, and then fire your Messiah from behind them. As if you are firing in front of enemies, they can shoot down your Messiah with their weapons. I did not know that early, I know it now. It's not happening very often, but they can take down your Messiah salvo and avoid any damage. So that's a big problem. So engine systems and targeting control systems probably must be maxed out to effectively use Messiah when, let's be honest, with particle beam weapon systems, you don't need any perk and they are amazing still. If you want to have some fun with Messiah, they will work. They will work, they're just not the best. So this is entirely up to you if Messiah fit your playstyle, as that will be the only reason to use them. For the effectiveness part, no. And that being said, thank you a lot for watching and see you all in the next one.